an utterly random review of an utterly random show. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this. This is my Christmas video to you all, and yes, it is a bit of a random review. This is going to be a WCW Slamboree 1996 review. Don't worry, I'm not going to start doing a new series on 1996 or anything like that. It might be for one day, but not at the moment. Basically, this one goes out to my friend Shane, who did something beneficial for me recently. I won't embarrass him by telling you what it is, but because I can't really offer him much in return other than a review, I said, name me an American wrestling show that you would like me to watch, and I will review it. And after much deliberation, I'm sure, he came back with this one, WCW Slamboree 1996. Now, of course, this is going to be one of those shows that I've never seen before, because it's a WCW show, especially from 1996. I know very little about this one, but basically, this one is subtitled The Lethal Lottery. It goes like this. The majority of this show is a tag team tournament, alright? But it's not just tag teams. Oh, no. These are randomly drawn teams. They will fight against another randomly drawn team in the first round, and then we'll have a random draw to see which order they go in. And we'll have some more tag team matches. When there are 8 men left, those 8 men will go into a battle royal. The winner of that is not only Lord of the Ring, but it's also essentially the #1 contender. He gets a title shot. Buyrate for this show is a 0.44, which, well, it's one of two things. It's either, I'm guessing that a lot of people like me are thinking, what a stupid idea, but also Hulk Hogan wasn't on the show, so yeah, you could put it down to that one. It's May 1996, and we are at the Baton Rouge River Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Baton Rouge sounds like a foundation, doesn't it? Not a city. Anyway, this venue has hosted many wrestling shows over the year, not just from WCW, but from WWE as well. But interestingly, if anyone cares, this is the only pay-per-view this building to this date has ever hosted. There are 7,791 fans on hand. Tony Schiavone, Bobby Heenan, and Dusty on commentary, and Tony starts this show by yelling that this is WCW at its best. So I've got pretty high hopes. So, in our first Lethal Lottery match, in the opening contest, Road Warrior Animal and Booker T, you see, random, fought Road Warrior Hawk and Lex Luger to a double counter. Now, this is surely a match with Wright itself, isn't it? Even the commentators big up how we're going to see Hawk versus Animal for the first time ever. You know, nice and simple. Easy, right, isn't it? After much stalling, Luger hits a powerbomb on Animal, doesn't cover, which is weird. The announcers talk about Luger being chokeslammed through a table by the Giant this past week on Nitro. Animal comes out with a powerbomb on his own. Luger hits a suplex, which naturally Animal no-sells. Luger and Booker go at it, the highlight of which is a spinneroonie that not only gets no reaction from the crowd, but is completely ignored by the announcers as well. Booker gets a scissor kick, but Hawk breaks the cover, which leads to a shoving match on the outside, and both teams are counted out. The Road Warriors then demolish Lex Luger and Booker T, and then celebrate in the ring like they've won something. And you're like, right. Now, this is an interesting one because this is the last time you're ever going to see the Legion of Doom or the Road Warriors as a tag team in WCW, because both of them would disappear after this. They did turn up back in the WWF in 1997, as I'm sure we all remember. Animal would return to WCW in, well, towards the last few months. It's like, I want to say the end of 2000, but I'm scared that that's wrong. I think it was early 2001. Sometime around that, Animal would return. Hawk never would. And of course, this is ridiculous because you've got a match that is sold on the premise of one thing. We want to see the Legion of Doom slash the Road Warriors, depending on how you know what you know them as. I'm always going to say the Legion of Doom, by the way, always, because that's what I remember them as. Yeah, you want to see those two go at it, don't you? And they don't. So it had a lot of potential, but just didn't live up to it. So half a star. Next, Public Enemy, which of course is Rocco Rock and Johnny Guns, defeating Chris Benoit and the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan in a match. So it's random tag teams. These tag teams are drawn at random, yeah? Do you like that? That's being drawn. Don't know how that works. But the Public Enemy get to team up together. I have no idea how that works. This should be a good match. You've got 3 brawlers in there, so just make it a brawl, and it's all good. So, Bobby the Brain Heenan and Dusty Rhodes argue about what would happen if they were a tag team instead of talking, about the match maybe. Rocco gets a nice runner on Benoit when he goes to do a second one, counting into a powerbomb. Rocco manages to fall over while doing a stomp. Seriously, he does. Does a stomp, falls on his arse. If you don't know Public Enemy, they're from the ECW, where they were pretty over. And then they went to WCW, where, as far as I know, they didn't do anything. And then they had a cup of coffee in the WF, where the only thing I remember them doing is get absolutely owned by the APA, I think, on Sunday Night Heat. Other than that, I don't really remember anything about them. Rocco and Kevin Sullivan brawl on the outside, where a chair is used, but there's no disqualification, because WCW says fuck rules, as we've learned many, many times when watching WCW pay-per-views. You can use a chair, because why would anyone care? Benoit and Sullivan end up on a table on the outside, right? But then the Public Enemy do this dive where basically it looks like Grunge is meant to launch Rock into the air, and when they come down, they're going to come down together. But it just looks shit as they both basically come down on top of each other, on top of Benoit. Looks awful. Sullivan moves out of the way. They put Benoit inside and pin him 1, 2, 3. I suppose the only good thing, the one true good thing coming out of this one is it started the Benoit versus Sullivan feud, if you like that sort of thing. Rick Steiner and the Booty Man defeating Scott Steiner and Sergeant Craig Pittman in a surprisingly good match. Let's look at it this way. I have no idea who Sergeant Craig Pittman is, alright? The Booty Man is fucking Bruce's beefcake. Yay! His gimmick, check this one out, because it's genius, is that he's obsessed with his own ass. Oh yes, a couple of years before badass Billy Gunn came along, we had the Booty Man, and he's got see-through bits in his pants, and his finisher is the high knee. Get it? It's high knee, oh god, it's awful. What a stupid gimmick. Now this is one of those times where once again I come back to the right. Wrestling is a business. It is designed to make money. Who thought this character would make money? Alright, I get it, right? It's Ed Leslie, it's Bruce Barbie, okay? It is Hulk Hogan's best mate. I get that, I do. But why would anyone pay to see this idiot? I just don't know. There's one high point, just the one, and he's got a girl with him called the Booty Babe. That girl is Kimberly Page. That's something good, and by the looks of things, she's forgotten to bring her bra with her tonight, which means her tits are bouncing. Oh, yes. So, once again, like with the opener, we've got a potentially great thing here, because we've got potentially Steiner versus Steiner. Will they give it to us? Well, hell, even Tony Schiavone says exactly what I've just said there. What we want to see in this match is Steiner versus Steiner. That's what we want. That's what the people want, all right? So the match proceeds how I want it to. The Steiners get in the ring, but never actually against each other. If I was booking this, I'd have it so that one Steiner was in the ring, and then the other was on the outside for a good couple of minutes, and then you have the Mega Powers explode, for want of a better expression, and have the two Steiners go at it and beat the shit out of each other. And that's exactly how this one works. We get the brother versus brother, massive pop. Great mastering from two of them culminates in a sweet T-bone suplex by Scott. But Rick comes back to the Steiner line. They trade full Nelsons until Rick hits a dragon suplex. Ding! Fucking half a star right there. Anytime you see a dragon suplex in the match, I'm a happy boy. Like when at Future Shock last week when I saw a fucking super one done by T-Bone. Rick goes up top. Scott comes it down with a T-Bone superplex. Genuinely. Booting Pittman in with Pittman hitting his code red armbar. Booty tags in to get out of it, but tags under the bottom rope. I'm pretty sure that doesn't count as a tag. But hey, it's WCW, so fuck rules again. Bridging German by Rick gets the 3. The match was so much better than I was expecting. 3 of the 4 men looked great. Booty Man didn't. Next, VK Wallstreet and Jim Duggan defeated Lord Stephen Regal and Squire Dave Taylor in a rubbish match. Squire Dave Taylor, Lord Bobby Eaton and... Oh, sorry. No, Bobby... What's Bobby Eaton again? He's something. I've got it written down somewhere down here. Where is it? No. Oh, well. Yeah, basically they're blue bloods. So they're your posh snobs. It's all good. VK Watts. I've lost my place now trying to look for that. Earl. It's the next match, dickhead. Earl Robert Eaton, Lord Stephen Regal, Squire David Taylor are the blue bloods. There we go. VK Wallstreet is the former IRS from the WWF. The Blue Bloods have a butler called Jeeves with them. There's an interesting question that I'm genuinely interested in. Do you Americans think that every British person in England has a butler called Jeeves? Genuine question. Let me know in the comments. My butler's called Bernard, by the way. Just want to throw that one out there. Yeah. Basically, this match is really simple. We'll go with, it's literally Wallstreet and Duggan have been feuding. They don't get on. They're more interested in beating each other up instead of beating up the Blue Bloods. But then, basically, Wallstreet won't tag him. Duggan keeps trying to get the tag. So Duggan not only decks him, but then tapes it, gets some wrist tape out, tapes his fist up, whacks Taylor, gets the win. I'll give it 1/4 star because it had some alright storytelling between Duggan and Wallstreet, but that's it. Dick Slater and Earl, there we go, Robert Eaton defeating Disco Inferno, and Alex Wright in a rubbish match. Slater nails Disco with his own boot to get the win. That's the highlight. No, seriously, first stud match of the evening. There's 5, in case you're wondering. 5. DDP defeating the Barbarian and DDP and the Barbarian defeating Hugh Morris and Meng in an okay match. So for the third night tonight, we have the intrigue factor because both Meng and the Barbarian are part of the stable called the Faces of Fear. It's all good. Bobby the Bohemian says that there's 20,000 people here. Nice try, Bobby. You're expecting exaggeration, but come on. You're over 13,000 people shy there. Sorry, 12,000 people shy. Wouldn't want to get it wrong, I'll get moaned at. So after Hugh and Paige got it for a bit, Meng and Barbarian don't pang him. They beat the shit out of each other, but neither will sell for the other, which makes it very, very, very entertaining. Morris hits an elbow, then wants a second one, but Paige crotches him, allowing Barbarian to hit a nice belly-to-belly superplex. Yay! I like that. Morris gets 2 off the moonsault, then both Meng and Barbarian hit big kicks and cover at the same time. This is a stupid thing. DDP has his foot under the ropes, Hugh doesn't, so Paige and Barbarian advance. Not a bad match, but it seems like a 5-star classic compared to some of the matches we've had tonight. I don't understand why the referee would do a double count, because that's what he did, when DDP's foot's under the rope, because he was just looking and go, oh, foot's under the rope, I'll count you instead, wouldn't you? Silly. Fire and Ice, which is Scott Norton, Ice Train, whoever he is, defeating Stevie Ray and Big Bubba Rogers in another crap match. And it's another dud. Big Bubba Rogers is known to you and me as the big boss man. Ice Train gets a bush splash, which gets a surprisingly big pop from the crowd. There's so many clotheslines in this one. In fact, the majority of this match, which doesn't last very long at all, is clothesline. How long does this one last? I haven't written it down. Bear with me a second. Sorry, I've got my Wikipedia page open. This one lasts 3 minutes, 33 seconds. And yeah, the majority of it is clotheslines. To the point where Tony Schiavone even mentions this one's been clothesline mania. That's how many clotheslines there are in this match. Scott Norton's is one that I've heard so much about, yeah, but I can't recall ever seeing a particularly great match of his. A double shoulder block by Fire and Ice gets the win. Yay. And then, right, check this out. The best match of the night is Ric Flair and Randy Savage defeating Eddie Guerrero and Arn Anderson in a genuinely good match. Really enjoyed this one. My notes say, oh, I really hope they give this one time. They don't. They give it 4 minutes and 6 seconds from bell to bell, which is so disappointing. But listen to this, right? Flair's music plays, but it doesn't come out, making you think that Flair had been attacked by Savage, because Randy Savage and Ric Flair have been feuding for quite some time at this point. 2 months ago, at Super Brawl, Flair had beaten Savage for the WCW Championship inside a steel cage. We got a nice little story to tell, as well as that, because of course you've got Arn Anderson in there, and Ric Flair just want to beat on Savage, but you've got the plucky babyface Eddie Guerrero, who's not been in the company very long, who can really mess up dem plans. So Flair comes out and starts beating on Savage, but here comes Eddie Guerrero to make the save. And he's on fire, unloading with punches and chops, a back body drop and a pair of drop kicks. Flair then has enough of him, thumbs the eyes, then tags in Savage. Savage, yeah, doesn't tag him in, doesn't even do this. Elbows him in the face, yeah? That counts as a tag, folks, because it just is a tag. Oh, brilliant me, that's fantastic. And then, right, because Eddie Guerrero, yeah, that counts as a tag. Savage is selling the elbow shot, yeah. And because Eddie's staggered around because he's been blinded, Flair grabs his hand and tags in Arn Anderson, so Arn Anderson can come in and start beating on Savage. That's so clever. I really, really like that. Arn and Savage go back and forth until Arn gets the main event spinebuster for a 2. Actually, that's not a main event spinebuster, is it? It's the AA spinebuster. That came years before it was starting to become the main event spinebuster. Yeah, there we go. Tony tells us that Flair didn't want to risk being jumped by Savage, so didn't come out first. That's why when he enters his place, he didn't come out. Like that. No problem with that. One bit. Flair in, and he beats on Savage, but here's Eddie. He basically he's beating on Savage in the corner, and then Eddie's like taps him on the shoulder, like, oh, you. He thumbs him in the eye, and then unloads with a whole fuckload of chops, follows with a dropkick and a real nice tornado DDT. Then Savage unloads on Flair while Arn DDTs Eddie. Arn pulls Savage off of Flair, who then pins Eddie, to get the win at 4 minutes and 6 seconds. And there is your problem, because this told such a good little story. You've got 2 guys in there who want to batter Savage, but Eddie is determined not to let them. Fantastic. I like that. That's good shit. Why did he give it 4 minutes? Why? It doesn't make any sense. After the match, Flair, Arn Anderson, and Miss Elizabeth, who've been out with Ric Flair, batter on Savage some more. Because they can, god damn it. How's that sound? And that is the first round, ladies and gentlemen. We go to Mean by God Woo Gene, who has 3 girls from Hooters with him. None of them have got particularly big tits, which I always thought was the point of Hooters, having never been to a Hooters. They draw the second round of the Lethal Lottery. Between this and they do a little segment after the next match as well, but I thought I'd just put it all together. So, Fire and Ice will get a bye into the Battle Bowl because we had the double count out in the opening contest. So we need to draw 3 matches. They will be Duggan and Wallstreet versus Eaton and Slater, yay. Public Enemy versus Savage and Flair, yay. And Page and Barbarian versus Rick Steiner and the Booty Man, yay. But before we get on to those, we've got a singles match. After 8 tag team matches, we've got a singles match. It's Dean Malenko defeating Brad Armstrong in an all-right match to retain the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Interestingly, and this is the thing about doing pay-per-view reviews where you have no idea what happened on anything, you have to go and do a bit of research. Brad Armstrong was the last WCW light heavyweight champion a few years before this. It makes sense that he gets the first title shot on pay-per-view. I like that. The announcers go on about this big double elimination tournament that had happened to crown the first cruiserweight champion, of course in classic wrestling style. That never happened. Oh no, it didn't. Some guy called Shinjiro Atani defeated the Pegasus Kid at a New Japan Pro Wrestling show to win the title. Can you imagine that happening now? Can you imagine that happening? Can you imagine WWE bringing in a new championship but not having the tournament or the finals on one of their shows? Them doing it on a Japanese show. I can't imagine them ever doing that. And of course, the tournament didn't happen at all. And of course, the Pegasus Kid, we all know and love as Chris Benoit. Malenko had defeated Otani on an episode of Worldwide the night before this pay-per-view, although it was taped in May the 2nd, I believe it was taped. So we get a nice interview by Brad in the early going, and then Dean just does his, right, you know the way I'm the guy with 1,000 holes, well, watch this. And he just unloads on Brad Armstrong's left leg with so many beautiful, beautiful holes. Someone like me who loves psychology sort of think, yeah, lovely. But of course it's technical wrestling, crowd are just not interested one bit, not in the slightest. Tony is more interested in talking about the Spanish announce team that they have for the first time. They're hidden away somewhere. It's Pedro Morales and some guy. They're hidden away backstage by the looks of things. You've got the Spanish announce table. Or also, he's more interested in telling us about the Great American Bash, which is next month. And why talk about this match? Fuck it. Armstrong comes out with a power stomp that bothers me. He then bothers me even more because he hits a missile fucking dropkick. Even Heenan questions, why would you do a missile dropkick if your opponent has worked on your leg the whole match? That doesn't make sense, does it, guys? Come on. Anyway, then he puts the Texas Cloverleaf on. Dean gets to the ropes. They go up top where Malenko hits a super gutbuster to get the win. I enjoyed this one. I did until Brad did that missile dropkick, because that's just stupid. And after that, he didn't bother selling the leg at all. It's all psychology in the match was a waste of time. So, Dick Slater and Robert Eaton defeating Jim Duggan and VK Wallstreet in another crap match. to advance to the Battle Bowl. So here we go, round 2 of this never-ending show, because it feels like it's never ever going to end. You know, let's just go down to the bottom, right? Let's just see. At this point, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the 7th match of the show. Can you believe that shit? Why would there be so many matches? Oh, anyway, the interesting part on this one is that Duggan and Wallstreet are far more interested in beating each other than beating their opponents, which leads to Duggan whacking Wallstreet so that Eaton can pin him at 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Not the worst thing I've ever seen, because once again there was some decent storytelling between those two, but as a match itself, shit. The Public Enemy then defeated Ric Flair and Randy Savage by forfeit in a nothing match because there was no match. Basically, Savage attacked Flair while Flair, Woman and Liz were making their way to the ring, basically throwing out Savage's money. Savage comes out, starts beating them, security to break them up. The Public Enemy win by forfeit. I can't really rate it, can I? But if I've got to, if you hold my arm behind my back sort of thing, I'll give it a dud rating. There we go. And then DDP and the Barbarian defeating Rick Steiner and the Booty Man in the last Lethal Lottery match. This is another useless match. Booty hits the high. Yeah, get this. This is ridiculous. But WCW at its absolute best, yeah. The Booty Man hits his finisher. We talked about it before. The high knee. It's a knee to the head. I suppose it makes sense, yeah. Goes for the cover. On Barbarian, of course. DDP, yeah, breaks it up by doing an elbow drop to the back, yeah. Barbarian rolls over the Booty Man and pins him. Off an elbow drop. Now, it's not like he'd even taken a lot of punishment in this match. Think about it, it's another one of these matches that are ridiculously short, yeah? But think about it. You're pinned off an elbow drop. Not a top rope one, a la Macho Savage, so that kind of makes sense, but just I need to break up the cover. Drop. No, it doesn't work for me at all. That's your dud right there. So, 3 more to go. Never-ending show. And incidentally, 3 more to go, yeah? There's an hour left of this pay-per-view, if you can believe that shit. So, Konnan defeating Jushin Liger in a decent match to retain the United States Championship. Dusty goes to check on Randy Savage, apparently, so Mike Tenay joins us for commentary on this one. Liger's in his heelish black gear. Konnan has defeated some guy called Kensuke Sasaki back in January to become the United States champions. Both men do some nice mat work that's interrupted by Sonic Ono trying to beat on Konnan, and he just shrugs it off. But then Liger does a baseball slide and a passada, which Konnan doesn't look like he wants to catch him for, so it just looks really, really shit. They go inside. Liger gets 2 off a brainbuster. They go to the mat where Tenay tells us that Liger idolizes Ric Flair and is in the process of creating his own 4 horseman stable, to which Tony says, "Wow, can you imagine that?" You're like, wow, dude, just wow. Why do that? Why just bury your full commentator? Anyway, up top, Liger gets a nice suplex and a splash for 2. He then tries another plancher to the outside, but Konnan is able to counter it. Liger hits a back suplex and a fisherman's buster, which Tony rips on Mike for saying it's a stupid name for a move. Like, why are you being such a knob to Tenay, you prick? Konnan comes back with a nice spine buster for a close 2. He goes up for Splash Mountain, but is countered into a sunset flip for 2. Liger Bomb only gets 2. He goes up top, as this is Liger. Liger goes up top, attempts a flying headbutt, but eats knees and a Splash Mountain, which is a razor's edge. Gets the win. Good match. This is probably, because I've not seen very much of Konnan. I've heard, his Mexico stuff's really good, but I've never really seen that much of Konnan other than in WCW. There's blue lights there, but no sirens. Because it's 10 to 11 at night here. Yeah, probably the best I've ever seen Konnan looking. Mean by God Woo Gene talks to Ric Flair about Randy Savage and Steve McMichael, and that brings the Mongo himself out. They spar verbally until Flair challenges Mongo to a match. Mongo says he figured this would happen and brings out Kevin Green, and they're going to tangle at the Great American Bash. Next, DDP wins the Battle Bowl. Basically, this is another one of those, WCW. 4 men are eliminated pretty quickly. It's funny when Tony says he expects the Public Enemy to work together, and at the very moment he says the word together, Rocco Rock is eliminated by Johnny Gunge. Why the fuck not? Page goes over the top, 1-4 hitting the floor. Tony goes 1 foot hitting the floor. 1-4 hitting the floor? That doesn't make sense. Tony goes nuts about this fact, saying that DDP should be eliminated. Now, only one of his feet, and it was just his toes to be honest, hit the floor. So what the fuck you're on about, Tony? What the fuck? Pittman, remember him, hits some nice power slams, yeah? But then Page comes back, with and hits diamond cutters on the 3 remaining guys. And then, in one of those, I've been watching wrestling for a long, long time, but I've never seen that one before, he pins Johnny Grunge and pins Craig Pittman. Now, I don't know much about anything, as my regular viewers will be aware, but I know you can't get a win in a battle royal with a pinfall. You have to be thrown over the top rope unless they specify that this match can be won by pinfall, right? Now, I get if the last 2 guys, it turns into a regular match, no problem with that at all. Especially with the story here, because the last 2 guys are DDP and the Barbarian, who've been teaming together all night. But come on, if you're going to do that, fucking tell us. Tell us that that's going to happen. It's so fucking stupid. Oh, dear me. Barbarian hits a nice rocking tombstone power drive down, really drove him head first. Get the fuck down tombstone power drive, you know. He goes up top, attempts a diving headbutt, but misses and allowing Page to hit a diamond cutter for the pin and the win. Okay, Max, pin thing bothered me. Yeah, it's like I say, just if you're gonna do it like that, tell us, then we don't get confused. Oh, and even better, yeah, because Page was thrown over the top and one of his feet hit the floor, Page never gets his title shot, meaning that his whole thing was utterly pointless. WCW, folks. Wasn't it awesome? Okay, we're finally almost done. Our main event is the Giant defeating Sting in a good match to retain the WCW Championship. Sting has Luger with him. The Giant has Jimmy Hart with him. They are handcuffed together, so no shenanigans will take place, therefore guaranteeing that shenanigans will take place. Oh yes, the Giant defeated Ric Flair in his first ever match on April the 29th for, the championship. This, as far as I know, is the first pay-per-view that I've ever reviewed that had old school Sting on, because every time I've ever reviewed Sting, he was in the crowd get-up, every single time. That's a nice little thought for you. So, Sting opens with 2 drop kicks and a clothesline, none have any effect. He tries to slam Giant, but he falls on top of him for a 2 count. Giant attacks by standing on Sting, hitting elbows, and then hitting, locking on a body scissors, complete with Healy holding onto the ropes. That, friends, is good psychology right there. They go outside to the entrance where there's a table set up. Luger holds Jimmy Hart on the table so the Giant can't chokeslam Sting onto the table. That's good storytelling right there, folks. Genuinely. They go back on the apron. Luger pulls Sting away to avoid a fucking drop kick, and it's massive. But really big looking, good looking drop kick. Wow. Sting goes to elbow who he thinks is the Giant, but it's actually the referee, so the referee gets bumped. Stinger splash in the corner. Luger and Hart get up onto the apron, so Giant puts a death grip on Luger while Sting hits 4 Stinger splashes to his back. All the while, he just won't let go of this fucking death grip. Hart is left on the top turnbuckle. Sting goes to do another splash, but Hart moves and Sting bounces into the Giant, basically bounces off the turnbuckle, turns around, falls over square onto the Giant balls. Fantastic, why not? A splash off the top gets 2 for Sting, but Giant powers out of it with so much force that Sting takes out the ref for our second ref bump of the match. Another splash and the Scorpion King Death. No, it's not the Scorpion King Deathlock, that's the Rock. Scorpion Deathlock, but Luger and Hart are fighting on the apron over Jimmy Hart's megaphone. Push, to me, to you sort of thing. And then when Sting turns him over, he gets the legs grapevine, turns him over for the deathlock. They go, oh no, we've lost control of it. And where does the megaphone go? Right into Sting's face. Conveniently, the referee gets up at that exact moment. 1 chokeslam later, Giant retains the belt. I went into this one going, well, this will be shit. I actually genuinely enjoyed it. It was overbooked to hell. But check this out, yeah? This is the longest match of the show, going 10 minutes. I gave it 3 stars, all right? How does that sound? So, in summary, 15 matches on one show is, I think I was wrong when I said 7 matches earlier on, wasn't I? 15 matches is way too many. Way too many to put onto a pay-per-view. You could say, if you're a promoter, that it means you're definitely getting your value for money, whether you're watching it on pay-per-view or whether you're there live. You get lots of matches, because I'm going to assume, haven't bothered checking, but I'm going to assume that there was a dark match before this one, wasn't there? So, 5 matches are rated dud. 5. And 3 matches are 3 stars. And there are a couple of 2 stars in there, you know, so it's a very hard show to rate. What I'll say is this: I'm going to go with 3 out of 10 because I'm in a very good Christmassy mood, alright? How's that one sound, folks? I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. I've got one more vid to do this year, and that is an In Your House D-Generation X review as part of the 97 series, and that'll be up next weekend, alright? Stop doing that, lad, damn it. I've been Mark P. Thank you so much for watching this random review. Take it easy, and I fucking hate you, Shane. How's that sound? Take it easy, guys.